Hello folks, Russ Scala here. We're going to talk about the psychiatric industry right now and all the new research that's available that you're probably not going to hear about from your doctors. One of the things we always do at SCALA Precision Health is we look at the history of how certain conditions or how psychiatry even evolved over time. And it's really fascinating when you get the backstory. In the early 1960s, the American Medical Association didn't want anything to do with psychiatry, and they were trying to run them out of town, bringing lawsuits and saying psychiatry was just pseudoscience. And then eventually psychiatry caught on, and they started having their own lobbyists, and they had to come out with the DMS-5 or the Diagnostic Statistical Manual to give them labels for diseases. And I think that's what we're talking about today. The DMS-5, or the book that has all the diagnoses of bipolar, schizophrenia, and anxiety disorder, the new research says they're not even using those terms anymore, which is really exciting because the psychiatric industry folks have been treating the head with talk therapy and with SSRIs and medication for years. They have never looked at multiple metabolic systems. And let me tell you why I buy into this so much. As a paramedic attached to the SWAT team in the 80s, I had a good friend of mine commit suicide. There was a fireman, and then another friend that was a police officer commit suicide. I was placed on the critical incident stress debriefing team. I know how stress compromises the brain chemistry. Before I went to graduate school and went to these advanced research labs, I knew the medication that these guys were taking weren't doing anything for them. When you see people daily, face to face, you kind of know what's working and what's not working. So the psychiatric industry, the people that are treating the head, not the body, all that's changing in real time now. And people like you are taking control of your own health. And let me show you how you're doing it. You're forming communities, you're running your own lab work, and you're looking at options of treatments that impact the brain chemistry. And let me show you what we do at SCALA Precision Health here at Winter Park. We understand that there's a gut-brain connection. If your intestinal tract is out of balance with the beneficial flora, it's going to impact your brain chemistry. Okay, we know that brain-derived neurotropic factor, the miracle growth for the brain, can be stimulated with nutritional and hormonal therapy. Okay, we know that moods can be affected by nutrition, which nobody looks at. We know that moods can be affected by thyroid, T3 and T4, estrogen levels in women, testosterone in men, progesterone, adrenal function. We know that the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, which is never looked at in psychiatry, can impact the brain chemistry and impact somebody's mood. This is fascinating research, folks, that's in your hands. And this is some of the advanced testing that we could do. With the urine sample now, we can look at serotonin, dopamine, estrogen, oxytocin, and testosterone levels. Every one of these neurotransmitters, or the electrochemical messengers that travel up and down our neurons, these allow us to feel good during the day. This allows us to get through the day. We know that elevated stress and elevated cortisol can suppress our feel-good chemicals. So why isn't anybody looking at the multiple metabolic systems of the body before you're writing them a prescription? And I think this is where psychiatry and the DMS-5 are sort of, I use the analogy of like Blockbuster Video that had 5,000 locations, and Netflix came along and there's no more Blockbuster. Traditional psychiatry is like Blockbuster, and the personalized approach, looking at multiple metabolic systems here, is like Netflix. Let me walk you through the hormonal part. Okay, folks, think about your children on ADHD drugs. Think about your grandmother that's taken Prozac. There's other multiple metabolic systems that we could test. So instead of me battling these big bureaucracies, I want to educate family members like yourself. And I want you to think about this, because you could Google everything I'm saying right now. You could even form a community in your neighborhood and drill down on this information and share it. Staying on 5 different medications isn't working, and that model is dying quickly. We know that chronic stress suppresses insulin, cortisol, thyroid, testosterone levels. Okay, we need our hormones to maintain our brain chemistry. So chronic stress shuts off growth hormone and it lowers IGF-1 and really damages our brain chemistry over time. We know that chronic stress in war veterans and police and detectives and EMS personnel damage their hippocampus over time. So chronic stress really damages the body. So what we can think about, instead of just giving somebody a pill, we could take some of the work from Dr. Peter Breggin, who came out with a lot of information in his book, Toxic Psychiatry. He also has an antidepressant withdrawal program. What we do a little different than Dr. Peter Breggin is we look at the intestinal tract, which is considered the second brain. We look at mitochondrial function. You could Google mitochondrial function and depression, and you'll see about 10,000 studies on how the mitochondria on a cellular level can affect our mood. And then how it all ties into the brain chemistry. So instead of just medicating the brain, we understand how the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala work under stress. We know what happens to our body over time. So this multifactorial gender-specific protocol can really help a family member get out of the railroad tracks. Folks, I hope I educated you today. You can see the Russ Scala YouTube channel if you want to take a deeper dive into the gut-brain connection. You can see SCALA Precision Health and my book, American Biohacker. So share this, please, and subscribe to my channel and be safe, and we'll be out with more videos soon.
The time is now for you to take control of your health. Everybody and every body has a story. Let us find out yours today.